Hi everyone, hi Sir Jesse. I am Christine Mabugay Figure from ABEL 2B. So now, this is my written report for the book of Odyssey, specifically the poem where Odysseus reaches Ithaca. My title is about the Homer from the Odyssey, Odysseus reaches Ithaca. So now, I'm going to start reporting. So first is we're going to discuss about the author's background. So, the Greek poet Homer was born sometime between the 12th and 8th century BC, possibly somewhere on the coast of Asia Minor. He is famous for the epic poems The Iliad and the Odyssey, which have had an enormous effect on Western culture, but very little is known about their alleged author. Homer is a mystery. The Greek epic poet credited with the enduring epic tales of Iliad and the Odyssey is an enigma insofar as actual facts of his life go. So Homer's style, whoever he was, falls for more in the category of minstrel poet or ballader, as opposed to a cultivated poet who is in the product of fervent literary moment such as a Virgil or a Shakespeare. And that's all for the author's background. Next is about the background of the work. So what is his background? The Odyssey was originally composed and published in Homeric Greek in around the 8th and 7th century BCE, and by the mid-6th century BCE had become part of the Greek literary canon. Scholars believe that the stories in the Odyssey originated as oral performance by wandering poets, and later, during the 8th century BC, they were edited and written by Homer. The poem focuses on the Greek hero Odysseus, or Ulysses, as he appears in Roman myths, King Ithaca. Homer's most important contribution to Greek culture was to provide a common set of values that enshrine the Greeks' own ideas about themselves. His poems provided a fixed model of heroism, nobility, and the good life to which all Greeks, especially aristocrats, subscribe. It's about the reading of the poem. So, the poem was written in the chapter 22 of the book of Odyssey. So, this is the Odysseus reading of the poem. Next is, what does the stanza convey? So, Odysseus' foresight and prudence pay off in the end. As a superb military leader, he assessed the situation, devised an effective plan, and implemented it at precisely the right time. Despite his obvious rage, he is completely under control. Odysseus kills and Antinous, the enemy's most aggressive leader, before the suitors realize the king has returned or that they are in danger. When the leader gone, the crowd is in disarray. Eurymachus, as is his one, tries to talk himself out of the situation. He claims that it was an Antinous' fault that everything went wrong. The rest were simply under his control and now ready to serve the king. He purposes the taxing the people to pay off for everything and adds that he and the other suitors will contribute a large portion of their personal belongings as well. Odysseus, on the other hand, is only interested in one type of repayment. Eurymachus realized that he must fight or perish, and he summons his fellow suitors to arms. Before the king's arrows rips through his chest and into his liver, he barely mounts a charge. Odysseus wins the first battle thanks to his military prowess. He caught the enemy off guard, cut off his escape route, destroyed its leadership, and caused confusion. Telemachus goes to get armor for the king himself and the two loyal herdsmen. the suitors have the swords they wear. Melintios, Melintios. Next is who is the speaker of the poem? So, Odysseus, the protagonist of the Odyssey. Odysseus fought among the other Greek heroes at Troy and now struggles to return to his kingdom in Ithaca. Odysseus is the husband of Queen Penelope and the father of Prince Telemachus. So next is what is the tone and mode of the poem? As Odysseus nears the end of his quest, the tone of Odysseus shifts from somber and mournful to joyfully excited. The book begins with Telemachus and Penelope despairing ever seeing Odysseus again. So that's the mode of the poem. So next is I'm going to discuss about the style of the author. So in the Odyssey, figurative language is used to draw the reader into its world and make the story more interesting. The epic poem uses simile when we read the Minerva flow away like a bird. Another type of figurative language is personification. The major symbols include the shroud that Penelope waves for Laertes, the great bow of Odysseus, the sea itself, and the island of Ithaca. Laertes' shroud, the shroud that Penelope waves for her father-in-law, Laertes' eventual funeral symbolized the cunning with which she confronts the suitors. She lacks the power to fight them with the physical strength, so she wards them off with her wits. Odysseus' bow. Primarily, the bow symbolized the physically superiority of the king, an important point in the world in which the mighty prevail. But the bow also symbolized the maturity and perhaps the character of the king. Next is the sea. The sea itself is a recurring symbol throughout the epic. It is in fact the sea of life. It represents the great man's journey through life with all its victories and heartbreaks. Ithaca. The island of Ithaca symbolized home. There Odysseus can share his life with his beloved wife and son, enjoy the wealth that he has earned, and eat the food of his youth, and even sleep in the bed that he built. So, Ithaca symbolized the end of the journey, the goal of the mythic trick. Nevertheless, it is not gained without a fight. So, next is about conflict. So, conflict in the Odyssey, conflict is constantly present. Much of conflict arises from the obstacle Odysseus faces returning home. The wayward traveler and his crew battle against the dangers of the sea and the challenge of temptations. Odysseus constantly battles the supernatural world so he can return home. So, man versus man. So, next is about the theme. So, first is hospitality. Second is loyalty or perseverance. Third is vengeance, and fourth is appearance versus reality. So first is I'm going to discuss about hospitality. To modern readers, the idea of hospitality as a major theme in a literary work may seem strange. In Homer's world, however, hospitality is essential. According to Fagles and Knox, hospitality is a major component of the holy code of moral conduct that exists in the secure world of Odyssey. So, hospitality or the lack of it affects Odysseus throughout the epic. The reader can judge civility by the degree of hospitality offered. So, next is loyalty and perseverance. Another personal virtue that is a major theme in the epic is loyalty. The most striking example of loyalty in the epic is, of course, Penelope, who waits faithfully for 20 years for her husband's return. So another example is Telemachus, who stand by his father against the suitors. So that's the loyalty and perseverance. Next is vengeance. Odysseus' vengeance is formidable when it is directed toward the suitors and his disloyal servants. He demonstrates impressive tolerance and he endures, in disguise, the insult and assault of the suitor Antinos, the Goddard Milanges. That's the vengeance. So next is the appearance versus reality. The theme of appearance versus reality is at the core of the relationship between Athena and Odysseus. Athena is the maven of makeovers. Her most memorable illusion in the Odyssey are disguised for herself or Odysseus. Last is the cultural implications. The Trojan War, a 10-year conflict between Greek forces in the city of Troy and modern-day Turkey, is the starting point for both the Iliad and the Odyssey. The Iliad tells of the end of the war while the Odyssey focuses on the hero's journey home of Odyssey, one of the Greek generals. So Homer's most significant contribution to Greek culture was the establishment of a shared set of values enshrined the Greeks' own ideas about themselves. So that's all, sir, classmates, and thank you for listening and reading my report. So I hope you get some ideas about the Odysseus, richest ithaca. That's all, and thank you. Glory to God.